In the South, huh? Mm-hmm. I think you don't have any sisters. And you weren't in Alabama either.
No,
you were in Florida.
No.
So you were just cosplaying as an old person.
Yeah.
What were you? What'd you drive down in Florida?
I was driving a Kia Sorento X-Line. Sorry, I had to think about it for a second.
A little forgettable?
Yeah. No, actually. But we drive so many Kias that it's hard to keep track.
That's true. We do drive a lot of Kias. Welcome, everyone, to episode 15 of the Daily Motor Podcast. Cheers. Going on, we don't have a soundboard here. Maybe someday. Just jazz hands.
I'm back.
You are back. You seem to have recovered well.
Yeah,
from your Stellantis incident.
Just a little mark here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Actually, that was not from a Stellantis. That was from a Suzuki.
Yeah. I'll always remember your V-Strom because of this mark on my hand.
Because of that.
I wonder if anyone ever, because obviously we shoot everything in POV, so I wonder if people ever look and wonder what happened to my hand.
Well, William Long probably has, because he's a hand analyst.
Enthusiast.
He's
listening
enthusiast
too. Hello, William.
Yeah. Yes. No, you recovered nicely, and actually, all jokes aside, because Stellantis actually isn't a bad brand, as much crap as they get around here, you were in 2 different places. Why don't you give us a little rundown of where you were at?
Yeah, so I was gone for a couple weeks. I started out going to Atlanta Motorsports Park with Hyundai to drive the Elantra N and Kona N on street and track. That was a ton of fun.
Both manuals or DCTs? Or
so
both?
the Kona N is only DCT, but the Elantra N I drove. I think I only drove manual Elantra Ns. They had DCT cars there, but since I was already driving the Kona N with the DCT, I figured I'd try to focus on the manual Elantra N, and then also drove a Veloster N in autocross. So it was pretty fun.
Knee-jerk reaction, if you had to go out today and buy one of those 3, which would you buy?
The Elantra.
Why is that?
Because it looks the best. It's the most usable.
You think it looks better than the
size.
Veloster?
Yes.
I thought it's hideous.
Yeah, I know you don't. I don't know why you don't like it.
It's the big gaping black grill area.
Careful. I think it could be. I think you could maybe paint those 2 sides of the bumper, like the inner pieces of the bumper.
So you're saying you'd have to alter your car?
Well, I wouldn't, but you could. I mean, I think it looks great.
You think that looks good?
I do. I like that car a lot.
Well, they must have gotten it right for someone.
I like that car.
I would get it in either this dark blue, the Kyogre blue.
The Kyogre, yeah. That's actually the exact spec of the one I drove for the Topher channel.
Okay.
That should be going up in a couple weeks.
And black obviously looks good because then it hides.
That's not an N, that's an N line.
Ah, touche. But it would look similar-ish. A black Elantra.
Yeah, but you'd have red on the bottom. So that was, there it is. Really, really good car. I may go as far as to say one of the top 5 cars I've driven. I mean, I seriously like that Elantra N.
I assume you didn't since you were at the track, but did you play around with the custom drive sounds at all?
No, but they had everything preset for us. So like the N mode was just full noise.
Yeah.
And it sounded awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Out on the street, it was a lot of fun. It's like the ride's not bad. It's very, very usable, drivable. And it was almost nostalgic for me because like these hot compact cars, my first car was a 2009 Cobalt SS Turbo. And when I drive these hot compacts, like these little turbo front wheel drive manual cars, it like brings me back to driving in high school. And like, it's just a lot of fun. Like I love that segment of cars so much. And not only did that Elantra N feel great on the street, it felt great on the track. It felt great in autocross. Better in autocross, I thought, than the Veloster. It just felt more planted. It's got a little bit wider tires, so it felt more planted in autocross. And yeah, it was great. Even the Kona, actually, funny enough, my fastest time around the autocross course was in the Kona, which didn't really make any sense.
Well, short wheelbase, DCT.
Very stiff.
Yeah.
Like that Kona is serious.
Remarkably
they
stiff.
call it an SUV, and they say it can be used for mild off-roading. It's a front-wheel drive hatchback. I mean, realistically, it's a hot hatch, and it does a really good job. So
if they made it all-wheel drive, it could really be a successor to the Focus RS lovers, because that kind of very stiff ride, kind of manic feeling.
Yep. And people were raising their hands at the presentation, and they were like, "Why is the Kona N not all-wheel drive?" and they kind of didn't really want to answer that. I think that what all that means is that one is coming. I'm sure they'll have, or maybe like a more hardcore version or something. I don't see why they wouldn't take advantage of that market now, especially that the GR Corolla, the all-wheel drive, has come to market, and Subaru is no longer making the STI.
Right. Those are all good points.
I feel like there's
there's a vacancy there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I see your point, but it is going to add weight and complexity to a car that is not going to be helped out by either of those things. Weight, complexity, and cost.
Don't they already make an all-wheel drive Kona though?
Yeah, but not with this powertrain. I mean, it'd be an entirely different.
They already do parts bin stuff, because the brakes actually on these N cars are from a Sonata.
Okay.
They're just oversized, brakes that they just pulled from their parts bin. They even used that expression. They're like, "Oh, we just got these brakes from the parts bin," and I was like, "What car are they from?" Well, we think they're from the Sonata. Okay, cool.
Great, inspiring answer.
Yeah,
I really like those cars as well. They're. You can tell that unlike some of the other Korean cars that we've had recently and kind of had this discussion, they're built more than just being good on paper.
Yes.
We do get some Korean cars around here that Nathan and I had kind of been pointing out. It's like they're really good on paper, but the more time you spend with them, you're kind of the veneer sort of comes off, and you're like, this is a fine car.
I kind of felt like that with the Palisade.
Yeah. You're like, at first you're like, wow, this is incredible value, and then the more time you spend, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it's got everything.
It's good, but it's just like, it's not.
The wow factor's gone.
Yeah, it's not.
I do feel like they genuinely had passion into the N cars, even from the first Veloster N and then all the way up until...
Those cars have soul, and I don't really say that very often now with these new cars.
Not many cars do.
Not many cars have soul, and that Elantra N, I was like, it gave me the fizz. Like it was so much fun in every aspect.
The thing that is a little bit of a shame is... The N-Line Elantra is actually quite good as well. You can get it with a manual. It's a little bit spicier. It's like 190 horse or something.
Yeah, and that car has the little drive mode selector, where we were wondering why there was that empty spot on the left side of the cluster.
Actually, I don't think the N-Line has a drive mode selector.
It does.
You saw it?
I saw it.
Okay.
With my own eyes.
All right, because it didn't when I drove it in California.
It does now.
But it does now.
It does now.
Was it a DCT? It might have been why, because I drove a manual.
Oh, yeah.
It might not have the drive mode selector in the manual
DCT.
part. Yeah.
The actual Elantra N does not have it right there, but the N-Line does.
I see. Hello, some of our members, Joey Finley and Yas, tuning in to watch us chat cars. If you guys have anything to throw in, we might mention some member content real quick.
Yeah.
And quick shout out to Nathan. Unfortunately, will not be joining us for these anymore. He's decided to move on to bigger and better things than just the lowly little DM podcast. Yeah. So maybe he might be on as cameos in the future.
Yeah.
We also need to have the Topher on sometime.
Yeah.
And get his opinion on cars. He's been driving a lot of fun stuff lately.
He's been all over the place.
ABCD Toyota electric car.
Yep. The EV thing.
Yep.
I think they named it after Elon Musk's son.
That's probably what it was. Well, Grimes' son, really.
I stole that joke from the Topher because that was his thing. But yeah,
you are a Topher. You're allowed to.
I am Topher. Yeah, I can. We're the same. So can steal it.
Separated souls. He also has driven. Well, you got to see the new GR Corolla.
Yeah. He posted a really cool POV walk around of that car, which is doing really well for him. Yep. And it's a really cool video. So.
And he's heading out to drive the new Z car soon as well.
He is.
Nissan Z. Is that the official name? The Nissan Z?
I don't think it's called the 400Z. I think it's just the Nissan Z.
That's stupid.
It's very 2023 of them to just be minimalist. What is it called? The Z. The Nissan Z.
It's kind of like, what are some of those other... Oh, well, like a lot of Chevy's naming recently that like, it's the Bolt EV. Now everyone's just going to call it the Bolt.
UV.
It's the Ford Mustang Mach-E. No, everyone's just going to call it the Mach-E.
The Mach-E.
Calm down. Yeah, and now it's, I think, the same with the
They're
Z.
They're just like, Z.
I think people are going to call it. Because then that just makes... Is it going to be Z from here on out?
Probably.
Okay. I mean, I guess people can get used to that. Yeah, I just kind of liked how it differentiated. Like, this is the 300ZX, and then it was the 350, and then it was the 370. Yeah. Just for the 400, it'd be very clear what we were talking about.
400Z, yeah.
But well, whatever. We'll get used to it, I suppose. Yeah. Same with the GTR. For a while, wasn't it like Skyline GTR, and then it was just GTR
Japan,
when it came to the US?
In Japan, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I heard somewhere. You know how like people were illegally importing those to Florida because you can do anything you want in Florida?
Yeah, because Florida sucks.
Yeah. apparently now the Florida government has realized this.
Oh.
And they
Wait,
have,
so they're actually turning their attention away from gay 3-year-olds and paying more attention to imported Skylines?
They thought, well, no, they've done the gay thing, right?
Okay, because it's signed,
taken
it's
care of
over.
that, it's signed, it's
We
over.
moved on to the next very important issue.
The next very important issue, they've thought, those 380 right-hand drive cars that are driving around?
That are terrorizing the streets of the Panhandle
Let's revoke all the
State?
titles.
Oh, no.
So that's what they've done. They sent letters out to everyone, and they're like, well, we're taking your titles away.
Just when I thought Florida couldn't get any worse. And of course, all those owners of those imported Japanese cars are certainly going to stop driving them because now they don't have the title anymore.
Yeah, and they're just going to hand them right over to the government and let them crush them.
Yeah, of course. That's exactly what they'll do. God, dude, fuck that state, man. I'm sorry. If you're watching, Kirk Rifles, located in Florida.
Anyone that's from Florida.
Yeah, Larry, if you're tuning in. Larry Prince.
Emily's parents.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but your state sucks. You too, Rick. What is it? Rick, what's the title? The governor? No, it's not Rick. What's the governor of Florida? It's some douchebag.
Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah. Either way, if you're in Florida, move.
Funny you say that. A lot of people are moving to Florida.
I know,
right
it's
now.
a shame.
And all of the people that live in Florida are like, stop moving here.
Yeah. Well, as we learn, there are a lot of idiots in the world, and so to have a place where they're all kind of congregated, I guess is convenient because you know how to avoid them.
You know what I was surprised? Well, I wasn't surprised. You know what I saw a lot of in Florida? You might be able to guess. What sort of car I saw a lot of?
I mean, there are a lot. I could guess Dodge Journeys, Lexus RXs, but you must have one in particular.
Toyota Venza.
A lot
of Venzas.
So one step down from the RX.
Yeah, there you go.
And honestly, about the same size as the Dodge Journey as well. Similar shape.
Yeah, you just cross the two that you just said and you get the Venza.
Right.
I have never seen so many Venzas in one place, but it kind of validates our theory of can't afford an RX, too old for a RAV4.
Yeah, there you go. And it makes sense now why Toyota went through all the effort to make that fancy sunroof then for the Venza, because they knew that people in Florida were going to buy it. So they're like, we need to put a lot of engineering effort into our sunroof.
Oh, Emily's calling me. Maybe she's watching live.
Maybe she's like, you insulted my parents.
You insulted my parents in my state.
You can call her back if you want.
No, it's okay.
She's going to be live.
I'm just telling her we're filming podcast.
Yeah, Emily has been on the podcast. She's
she was on episode 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
She said, I forgot you're podcasting. Sorry. She knows.
You're like, wow, you're not a Daily Motor member and you're not watching live right now?
Yeah, right.
She doesn't pay monthly. No, back to the Hyundai cars. I do think their N line is really growing nicely, and I can't think of any performance brand right now other than maybe Cadillac's Blackwing that injects so much character and soul into every car they make. I'm not saying there aren't other good performance lines. M is obviously fantastic. The new M3 and M4 are really good.
Yeah.
But to have that daily driving character mixed in with track performance is becoming a rare thing to find. I'll say the only other car I think I've driven recently that has that is the new 86 BRZ. Yeah.
Well, you've got the gentleman that came over from BMW.
Bierman. Albert Bierman, who's now retiring, but he's already left his mark.
You get a little bit of that like classic M car DNA in the N cars.
Yeah.
So like it's really special. If you haven't driven one, go drive an N car because they are just
they're
fabulous. They're obtainable also.
Yeah.
Which makes them even better. I mean that what is that Elantra like 32,000?
32, 33. Hopefully dealers won't mark them up too much. Maybe given the current like production woes they might, but I think get a year out and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And they're not too muddled on the inside with useless bullshit. Most of everything in the interior goes toward just being a fun car to own.
Yep.
And what the Elantra does really well over the Veloster is actually be a good car for an adult to own. The Veloster's a little boy racery still, like you got the 3-door setup, which I like.
Yeah.
But I could see how someone who wants to have a little bit more practicality and maturity in their life could elect for the Elantra and get that.
No, the Veloster, if you get out of the Elantra or the Kona, the Veloster feels like a McLaren. Yeah. It's just like it's so dodgy and sharp and quick. Like it's crazy driving them back to back.
I'd be really curious to have Tedward get behind the wheel of an Elantra N and then just hear his raw thoughts on that versus his Civic Si, because the Civic is excellent.
Yeah.
But the Veloster has a lot more character.
You should try and
is
get
a lot more
one
fun
to
drive. Yeah. That would be neat.
Yeah. I've already working with him, hoping that he'll film my Cayman while he's in town.
Ooh,
Because I would love to have my
He'd
car
really
on his
appreciate
channel. That would be sweet.
Nice. See how many channels you can whore out your Cayman to.
I know. So far,
Hasn't been on
only
Daily
one.
Motor yet. Yeah.
No, it's only been on the Topher. It hasn't even been on Winding Road yet.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's only on the Topher, and it doesn't have its own video yet on the Topher.
Well, you can only drive it, 400 miles a year?
God, I know. I need to drive it more this year.
Yeah.
This is like a total first world problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's with what we do. We drive different cars all the time, and I'm still in the phase of I haven't driven everything yet. So
Right, so
I
even a
am
Nissan Kicks is like,
yeah,
you look forward to
right.
that.
So I'm spending as much time as I can with every car that we're driving because it builds up my credibility and everything. And I like to be experienced with cars so I can actually know what I'm talking about when I do my reviews.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, my personal cars get neglected because of that. Obviously, the Cayman, I don't drive it in winter, so it's neglected for half the year anyways. But yeah, I think last year I only drove it like 400 miles, which is really, really not good, especially for Porsches. They don't like to not be driven. So
it's a matter of logistics as well, because I'm in a similar boat. I mean, I have the 2 press cars per week to drive.
Yeah.
That I ended up selling my Boxster because it's just like I drove it less than 1,000 miles in a year, and I have the motorcycles, and we got the Tesla, now the Maverick. It's just like,
yeah.
I think your case is a little bit different because yours is more valuable and better condition, and it's appreciating faster.
Yeah.
I'm sure my Boxster S would have appreciated a little bit,
yeah.
but I don't know if the upkeep costs would outweigh the appreciation. So I just sold it for what I paid for it.
Right.
Whereas you, your appreciation, I think is going to go up more than.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So
worth.
that's a really neat car.
It's
a
worth
2007 Cayman S Guards Red 6.
Oh, 6 Cayman S.
S.
Guards Red, natural brown interior, 6-speed manual, 35,000 miles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great
Rear
car.
sport wheels, sport steering wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
It's my dream spec.
Speaking of Porsches, I was playing around with the Porsche build configurator last week.
Oh, so were Emily and I.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, coincidence.
What
I was
were you
building. I was building a 911 S cab.
Okay, you're being a little more ambitious than us.
Were you? Were you being Macans?
Yeah, Macan.
Would Emily seriously consider a Macan?
She's thinking about it. Yeah. Cross shopping with the GV70.
We should get a Macan here at the beginning of summer if she can hold on until then.
Yeah.
That would be a good way to one up your mother if your mother got a GV70 and Emily said, "Fuck it, I got a Macan."
Is
Is that actually where the process has come from?
Neither of them are watching, so it's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, that you haven't driven a Macan, right?
I've never driven a Macan. I've driven a Cayenne. I've driven the new style Cayenne, but I've never driven a Macan.
If you take your Cayman into the Porsche dealer for service or detailing or anything, they should give you a Macan as a loaner car.
Okay.
Yeah, that happened to me once.
Well, something will probably break this year because nothing's broken yet, so something is bound to break.
Sure.
So
yeah, or just get a detail.
just
There's
maintenance
all those probably quite clean.
It doesn't need a detail. It just I got it. It's like waxed and it's water falls off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, we should get a Macan here in this early summer.
I would love that.
They're excellent.
I'd love to spend a few days with a Macan.
And Porsches are remarkably reliable. So, and not that Emily would get a used one,
right.
But you could easily get a CPO Porsche, and I'm pretty sure Porsche's CPO is unlimited mileage.
2 years unlimited miles.
Yeah.
I almost bought a Macan. I was this close to getting a Macan. I was looking at CPO'd Macan S's because in 2018, 2019, they were like under 40 grand.
Yeah.
They were and for like clean
CPO
40,000 mile nice Macans, and they were like high 30s, low 40s. I found a 2015 Macan Turbo CPO'd, sport seats, carbon fiber side blades, painted bumpers, like everything. It was a nice spec, and it was CPO. I think it had like 50 or 60,000 miles on it, and it was like 38 grand.
Wow.
Whereas today that would be a $50,000 car.
Yeah.
So it's sad. I kick myself a little for not doing it, but oh well. I mean, I'm by now I would have sold it, I'm sure, because I would have no use for a new daily driver style car. But I probably could have made like 10 grand.
You definitely have buddies who have wasted away thousands of dollars in much older German luxury cars to have daily drivers. I mean, there's an ML55 right out there.
AMG, yeah,
your other buddy's got an X5.
Yeah. Oh God,
buddy with an S4, which sounds pretty cool.
Same buddy as my ML. He still has the S4. Yeah, he loves that car.
But if any of them were to have just spent a little more up front and gotten like a CPO Macan, excellent daily driver. Another buddy had a GTI, or still has a GTI, right?
That's Corbett. Corbett has so many cars.
Sure. But if they had just gotten a CPO Macan, very reliable, very nice, very fun, all these things, and then at the end of the day, when they went to either still own it or sell it, they'd probably be bad.
Yeah. Whereas he bought this ML55 that's right outside the door right here for, I think he paid $5,500 for it.
Okay.
In 2020. I'm the one that found it. I sent him the link.
Oh, so
you're
such an enabler.
I was. Well, it worked out for me because now I own it. But so he bought it for like $5,500. I think he probably put another $5,000 to $6,000 maintaining it, just because he did dealer maintenance because he doesn't have time to do stuff himself. He's pretty busy with his job, so he just sent it to the Mercedes dealer for everything it needed, and God, I think it was like another probably $5,000. So yeah, he probably had like $10,000 into that car. Sold the whole thing to me for $1,000 because it's not running properly right now.
Yeah.
But I suspect maybe, and this is pretty ambitious to just say it's this simple. It may just need coils, spark plugs, and
maybe
like just maintenance, because he didn't really do maintenance. He was, he fixed things when they broke, but.
That's not the proper way to own a German vehicle.
It's really not.
Do maintenance and just fix things when they break.
No.
Like it's very expensive.
Yeah, I know. So, but I just figured I couldn't lose for $1,000 because the freaking wheels on the thing are worth like $600-700. So
sure. He could practically get scrapped $1,000.
I know, it's a pretty heavy SUV.
What? How many years did he own it?
About a year and a half. He bought it in October of 2020. So yeah, like a year and a half.
So he could have gotten a CPO Macan.
Yes.
And driven it for the 2 years of warranty.
Yes.
So would have spent nothing on repairs.
And he would have probably made a profit.
And well, because he had a $9,000 loss on the ML. So I bet you he could have sold this, regardless of the current used car market, even normal times, he wouldn't have taken a $9,000 loss.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Word to the wise,
there
kids. Buy a Macan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically you, Corbett.
Yeah.
So after Atlanta Motorsports Park, you made your way further south.
Yes.
Technically, you came up and then went right back down. But tell us what you drove in the flat state.
Yeah, so I went to Florida after Georgia, and Charlie was so nice to schedule me a Kia Sorento X-Line.
Yes.
Which,
thank you, Kia.
Which was thank you, Kia. It was a really nice car to drive for the week that I was there. Wolf gray, I think it was wolf gray. Or everlasting silver, whatever that color is. But it had the rust colored interior, which was really nice. X-Line, so it was a 2.5 turbo with the 8-speed dual clutch. Had a couple hiccups with the dual clutch. It wasn't always as smooth, I think, as it should have been. But dual clutches are so tough in just normal cars like this.
Did it look like this?
No, it was like the wolf gray. I think it was wolf gray.
Okay.
Yeah,
because it was almost a matte-ish, right?
No, it had some metallic to it, but it was like the Nardo gray type look.
Like that?
No, that's silver.
Okay. I guess
go down. No, you just had it. Yeah, it's that. It was
okay. Is that the same color with the K5 in?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was that color.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice. Got pretty good fuel economy. I was averaging like on the highway, I was getting like 26, and then total average from the trip, it was like 21, 22 at barely any highway driving.
Mm-hmm.
Not very expensive. It was like $45,000. It feels pretty premium. I would kind of say it falls under that, after you spend a week with it, it's just like, okay. And like it's nothing super special, but it is a good car. It's a nice car, and it feels premium for $45,000.
It kind of makes me think that the Sorento, especially in X-Line form, is almost taking over where the Grand Cherokee is departing, because Grand Cherokee is moving so up brand. But people who 15 years ago would have loved to get a Grand Cherokee, just kind of cheap, simple, it's kind of this now.
100%. That's actually a really good way to look at it, because Grand Cherokee is moving towards trying to be a Land Rover.
Right. And doing a decent job at it.
And they're doing a really good job at it. Yeah,
someone has to take their spot.
And we'll get to this later, but especially after what we drove this week, it validates that even more for me.
Sure.
But also while I was in Florida, I went to Skyway Classics, a classic car dealership in Bradenton, who I had met the owner and the marketing specialist on a prior trip when I went there in December. And I kind of told them about the channels and what we do and stuff. And they were like, oh yeah, like it'd be cool to, come film a couple of our cars. And so I sent an email a few weeks before I went, and I was like, hey, remember me? Can I come film some of your cars? And they're like, yeah, we can, we'll help you out with your vehicle choices. I mean, Go on our website, pick a couple cars you want to drive, and we'll
Are these
make it
cars
happen.
listed for sale or just like
They
museum?
are. No,
Okay.
it's a dealership. They do a lot of consignment stuff, so I was a little bit
That makes
limited on what
sense.
I could drive because it's about 50-50 split. Half their cars are on consignment, half their cars they own. So I could really only pick through cars that they actually own. But I ended up driving a really cool resto mod 68 Mustang with a 347 stroker.
Wow.
That was pretty cool, like candy apple red.
So you got stroked in
You could
Florida.
probably pull it up actually on their website.
Okay.
Skywayclassics.com. So that car was cool. That it had a pretty modern feel because it was a resto mod. So actually, if you go to that car has since sold. So if you go up and click inventory and go to sold inventory, there it is, right in the middle. So I drove that car. Yeah,
That looks neat.
very Florida.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah,
And
super clean, nice car.
Low mileage, 25,000 miles.
Yeah. I mean, that car you could eat off of any surface. It was mint. So that was cool. That was the oldest car I've ever driven.
I was going to say, this is some of your foray into old classic cars, and you quite enjoyed it, right?
I did enjoy it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, Florida is horrible for a number of reasons, but one of those being driving roads. It's a lot of just straight nothingness.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I mean, I was kind of limited to just driving in straight lines. But with muscle cars, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I wouldn't want to be carving canyons in a 68 Mustang. That thing's insane. I saw that while I was there.
They're asking $400,000.
It's a Phantom drop head.
A 2014 Phantom drop head coupe.
It's got 10,000 miles on it. I met the owner of that car, actually. That car used to belong to a prince in Dubai.
Wow.
And it was shipped to Dubai. I lived a little bit in Dubai. And then it came back to Florida, still owned by the prince because he wanted to drive it while he was in Florida.
I could see that, yeah.
And then it was sold to the gentleman that now owns it. It's being sold on consignment. So
I see. I'd like to own a Phantom someday.
that car has a presence. That
Yes.
car is mental to just to be next to it. I know it doesn't really look like much in the photos, but when you're next to that car, like I didn't even want to get within 6 feet of it. I was just like, oh, I don't want to get close to it. It's a little bit intimidating.
Yes.
It's so massive. I was under the misconception that the Rolls-Royce Dawn directly replaced the Phantom drophead.
Oh,
But the
Dawn's based on
Phantom-
a Ghost, right?
The Dawn is like a convertible Ghost, whereas the drophead is a convertible Phantom. And if you
Yes.
park a Phantom next to a Ghost, totally different car, like way bigger.
Yep.
So that Phantom drophead was insane. The owner was super cool also. So the second car I drove, you'll just be going through the inventory here a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll have to get to it.
You can tell us
The
about
second car I drove was a 68. I know that's
Quick interruption. They have a Ford Transit Connect
That's
right
right.
around this Phantom drophead coupe at the same place as
they've
a
got-
Transit Connect, and
they've got a wide
2013 Impala. Is it an SS?
No.
It's just an Impala. But
probably
it does have a pinstripe and chrome pillars
and
on the
chrome
B
door
and C.
handles.
Yes. Anyway,
So the second car I drove
and
also.
your favorite, a black Dodge Ram.
Yeah, thank you. That belongs in Sterling Heights. I don't know what it's doing in Florida. So back to back with the Mustang, I drove a 68 Camaro, which was cool. I felt like
comparison test for you.
I was a journalist in the 60s because
There
I
you
drove
go.
the 68 Mustang and then I drove the 68 Camaro. The 68 Camaro was more of a factory restoration.
Okay.
It had a little bit different wheels. It had an SS hood, but it was like the engine that would have come in at the 2-speed Power Glide automatic that came in
Yeah.
it. It was double
shift,
green,
two
or
shift.
it was ash gold,
Okay.
as they call it. So it was like the super pale green color inside and out. Original steering wheel, dash, seats. Super cool car.
So which would you take?
The Camaro.
Really?
Yes, the Mustang was objectively better because it was a resto mod and it was really, really well done. But there's something cool to me driving classics that just feel super original.
Sure.
And I kind of learned to appreciate that after driving the Camaro right after the Mustang. It felt less fake. It felt more honest. Yeah,
That
that
makes
thing's
sense.
sweet. I saw that too while I was there.
This is a 2021 Airstream Atlas Tommy Bahama Mercedes.
$260,000. It's a Tommy Bahama, of course it is.
I would 100% buy one of these and travel around the country with it. Like, honestly, if bless her heart, if Alyssa were to pass away tomorrow sort of thing, and I don't know, maybe Emily passed away with her. They're driving to
We could just-
to a flower shop.
we could go get
Seriously,
this.
Wow. We could live in
That's
this,
excellent.
drive around the country to all the different press cars and events, and just film and edit right on the road. And it's essentially it's a small RV.
I love the Tommy Bahama. I think it's required when they import these into Florida. They have to swap the floor mats out for Tommy Bahama floor mats.
That would make perfect sense. to
Yeah,
me.
that's the only thing I can think of. Oh, and pillows too.
This would literally be the daily motor.
Yeah.
The daily motor.
We could get that as the license plate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I would love to have one of these and just try.
It actually looks like a nice interior up front. A toilet. Nice.
Oh yeah. I mean, these are made to literally, like, you know, the super nice RVs you get into and they're like $1 million, but it's like granite countertops and stuff.
I'd like to have
this
a
is just
Benz.
like a small version of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have smaller capacity to have a Mercedes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can, I mean, there's probably beds in it that you could full out sleep in somewhere, and the shower, and you could legitimately live in this. Yeah. You can see the stand-up shower right back there. Yeah. This is a full, I think about how much of America there is to see.
Yeah.
National parks and racetracks
Yeah.
and all these sort of things. I mean, to be able to just like drive this around and then pick up like a Miata from the press fleet in Denver and then like drive it there and then give it back and drive somewhere else, go to Seattle. That would be
be
cool.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you can get a quote from Haggerty on your insurance.
Yeah,
for
it's a
your
cool.
21
It's a cool
Airstream.
little
It's a
part
cool
of
dealership.
Yeah, they're a very cool dealership. It's a totally new building, beautiful. It's hard to see in the background of the of these photos, but beautiful building, designed by the owners. It's the staff is super cool. They're all older gentlemen that lived all these cars, and lived in the time. Oh, there's the Camaro. To the left there, to your left.
Ah, that's the one you drove?
That is the one I drove.
Very neat.
Super
Very classic
cool
looking.
car. Yeah.
44 doesn't seem too bad.
No, honestly, no. I'm surprised that car hasn't sold, because the Mustang was like much more than that, and that sold. So, and I would have the Camaro.
You haven't driven a new Camaro, right?
No,
current
you know what's
gen
funny?
Camaro?
That's the only Camaro I've ever driven. Is
Okay.
that '68? Yeah.
I'd really like. I keep asking Chevy over and over again. Please, can we get some seat time in
well,
a Camaro?
they're killing it, aren't
I
they?
know, but it's because it's just a shame, because the Camaro is really, really good, and I
Believe
wish
it, yeah.
you could just get some good solid seat time in a nice just SS manual Camaro, because the transmission's so good and the engine's so good, and
Well, if it's
the
anything like
chassis is
that,
great.
that V Blackwing, then
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's just because you got the burbling V8. And unlike the C8 Corvette, where you have that pushrod V8, but it just doesn't fit the rest of the character of the car very well.
Yeah.
Because you have like an exotic car with a tractor motor. The Camaro,
Yeah.
it makes sense because you're in
A tractor.
you're in an essentially, just American iron sort of machine.
Yeah.
And it feels right. It feels
Yeah.
really, really good. So yeah, I quite like the Camaro.
Yeah, I've been wanting to drive the Camaro. It's the only one of the three, Mustang Camaro
Sure.
Challenger that I haven't driven. I've spent a lot of time in Challengers. I spent a lot of time in Mustangs, but I've never really had the chance to do a Camaro. Well, until this '68 Camaro.
Until the old Camaro. Yeah. Well, neat. I'm glad you had a good time down in Florida. Almost in California.
I wish it was
Not that
California.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a Daily Motor video for the Sorento, or is it just Winding
did.
Road?
I
Oh,
did.
cool. So
I
we'll
sure
see that
did.
coming up here at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah, I did a DM test drive.
Neat. Weasel it into the schedule.
Yep.
So last week, as you got back, we had the Audi A3 and the Land Rover Discovery.
Yes.
Two pretty notable cars, I feel
Yeah.
like. The A3 kind of goes under the radar. We'll talk about that one first.
Okay.
It is this, entry level, if you will, into the four-ring brand. And overall, I like to talk. There's kind of four quadrants of cars that we drive and how we experience them. There's high expectations, high delivery, high expectations, low delivery, low expectations, high delivery, and low expectations, low delivery. The
Yeah.
A3 was a little bit low expectation and ended up kind of being high delivery for me.
Okay.
I ended up reviewing it, shot the car, drove it a little more than you.
Yeah.
And the first few days for both of us, we were kind of like, this is a stupid car. Why would you buy it? It's just an
Yeah.
overpriced Jetta.
Yeah.
And the interior materials are not that fantastic. The powertrain's not great. Why would you buy it? But the more I spent time in the car, and this is why it's important. I mean, we obviously do the DM kind of first drives of cars, and we only get minimal time with them. But when we spend a week with a car, you have those experiences of waking up in the morning and just having to go run an errand, or putting your significant other in the car, or taking something in the car and just kind of living with it. And it did a really good job at that.
Okay.
The mild hybrid system not only makes the car remarkably efficient, got 40 miles per gallon on our highway fuel economy testing with regular gas as prescribed in the manual. I double checked that it only needed regular.
Okay.
It, aside from not having a heated steering wheel, you get right in. All the controls are very straightforward. There's buttons and switches and knobs for just about everything, including one of the best volume adjusters on the wheel, because it's just a nice clicky scrolly wheel, very similar to like a Tesla. You can
In the Land Rover.
you scroll through it quickly. But even the Land Rovers is a little like, it just doesn't feel very, it's not a strong click to it. Do you notice that? It's just kind of like a weak limp. You don't really notice that, the wheel.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, just compared to the Audis, a very satisfying. Same with Teslas again, and old Mercedes. By old, I mean like before the haptic ones.
Yeah.
It's a very satisfying clicky wheel on the steering wheel. All the controls made sense. The infotainment was nicely contoured into the dash and within comfortable reach. Yeah. So you just, as a 5'10" adult, just kind of reach forward comfortably, grab it. The headrests adjusted, forward lumbar in the seats.
Yep.
The interior was a nice mixture of a dark brown and a black with some
Alcantara.
Brushed, a little bit of... Oh, that was my phone vibrating on the hard table.
Nice.
There's like a brushed chrome around it with some nice wood inlays. I will say the car starts $37,000, but I cannot imagine either a purchaser or a dealer ordering a base A3, because a lot of the Premium Plus package that ours had were kind of essentials. We're talking heated seats, navigation.
Right.
I mean,
things you'd expect in an Audi.
In an Audi, yeah. Why would you even own it? I feel like they just make that base model so that it looks like the base price is lower, but no one's getting that.
Yeah,
Which I don't feel that way about the BMW. I feel like you could live with a pretty basic 230i.
And it's more of an enthusiast choice, way more of an enthusiast choice than an A3.
Yeah, and that brings us to the transmission and engine in the A3.
Right.
They actually have a less powerful 2-liter turbo in this A3 and paired up to all-wheel drive. It's not peppy. It's not quick. It's a decent enough amount of torque to make daily driving livable, but then you get into the dual-clutch automatic, which you notice shifts. And I know that sounds subtle, but in a luxury sedan, you shouldn't notice shifts. In the year of our Lord, 2022, things should be so butter smooth in a car like that.
And most cars are now.
And most cars are.
Yeah.
Right. You can drive, whether it be a CVT, a conventional automatic, shifts should be imperceptible. And in that 230i, such a great 2-liter turbo on that motor, more powerful, decently efficient, and so quiet.
Yeah.
In Eco Pro mode, you barely notice it's running. You never notice it shifting. And then when you want to drive it sporty, it's very fast, 300 pound-feet of torque. Very impressive. A3, not really that way. It's fine for daily driving, but like you pointed out, as you're slowing up to a stop, if the engine is running, which sometimes it's not because it shuts off to say fuel, mild hybrid, but if the engine is running, you feel the downshifts.
Yeah, it kicks you in the back.
Right, because
and then you have to go into the brake harder.
Yeah, because So, but this is we try to extract ourselves from enthusiasts as someone who wants driving feel, and we want it to, and very much value the 230i. For someone who just wants a luxurious entry-level daily driver,
lives in the city, needs to park in a small spot, wants the badge, wants a nice interior, wants buttons that click nicely.
Or even if you live in the Midwest and you put a bunch of miles on your car, I mean, you're getting 40 miles per gallon, you got all-wheel drive. They make a front-wheel drive only, A3 too. That probably gets easily over.
I'd rather have that.
I'd rather have that too. You get well over 40 miles per gallon on the highway because EPA is too higher.
Yeah.
So not a bad car.
Probably quite a bit quicker too than the all-wheel drive car.
You're right. Yeah.
If it isn't, I'm sure it feels quicker.
Right. So definitely not a bad car. I don't think it would get good car.
No, I don't know. I don't know how much I can speak on this because I really only spent about a day and a half with the car because I was traveling, so I came in a little bit late this week. But yeah, I wasn't super inspired by it. But after hearing your points and everything that you've pointed out, looking back to my time with it, I can agree with pretty much everything.
Sure. I will also say it should be quieter on the highway as well. It's single pane glass.
I don't even know that I drove it on the highway.
We rode it in the highway at least.
Oh, I did. That's right. Because
but the road noise and the wind noise is a little bit more than you'd expect for a luxury sedan, but still not a decent car. Not good.
Yeah.
Decent. Fine. Next, Land Rover Discovery.
Yes.
A car with a little bit more character.
Quite a bit of character. Yeah.
This was your first Land Rover presser, right?
Yes.
That you've spent significant time in.
Yeah. The only other Land Rover cars I've spent time with, my uncle had a couple of Range Rovers growing up, so I drove those cars, spent a lot of time in the back seats of those cars, riding around and stuff. Actually, what's even better? My same uncle, when I was born up until the time when I was, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old, had a Discovery, like a 99 or 2000
cool.
Discovery. And he owned this car downtown Chicago, and his spare tire was stolen so many times that he just got to the point where he just started leaving his spare tire in the hatch. Cause in downtown Chicago,
You couldn't just get a locking lug nut?
Did that exist in the early 2000s?
You'd think, but
You
still,
would think so. I didn't hear wheel locks until I don't know, but yeah. So but you can blast a wheel lock off.
I guess.
It's just a little bit harder.
Sure.
So I always loved that old Discovery that he had because obviously as a kid you're short and it had stadium seating, so I could sit up high and I could see everything that was going on up front and I could watch him drive and stuff. So
sure.
that car was really cool to grow up riding in. And then he had a couple of Range Rover Sports after that.
Okay.
So that's really the extent of time I have with Land Rovers, is just because of my uncle, because he's owned a few. So actually being able to spend some time with this Discovery was cool. It didn't feel as blocky or as solid as I was expecting. It didn't feel as solid and blocky as like a Range Rover. But I think that's appropriate.
The Discovery as well also feels more blocky.
Yeah. I think that's appropriate though, because you obviously wouldn't expect it to feel identical to a Range Rover,
right?
Because it's not as expensive and they don't want to give you the Range Rover experience in a Land Rover Discovery. Yeah. But there were things in that car that I liked. There were some things that were silly, like the armrest adjustment.
Oh my god, that was so silly. Yeah, and it's been that way for a long time in Land Rovers.
What's wrong with just a ratcheting one? Those do such a good job.
Right.
But
I think the idea
silly.
is if you owned it, you'd get it in one position and essentially leave it.
But you could do the same thing with a ratcheting
one. Yeah.
I actually really liked the powertrain.
Did you?
I didn't like the way it was tuned, but I liked the powertrain itself. I love inline sixes. If a car has an inline six, it gains points with me because I just love inline sixes. I own a couple cars with inline sixes, and I've always loved the smoothness of them, the way they sound, the way they deliver their power. It's really nice. That Discovery, I keep trying to call it a Defender.
I know.
The Discovery had a turbo 3-liter inline six.
Yeah.
So pretty standard for an inline six, 3-liter turbo with a mild hybrid.
Right.
So you don't hear it on startup. It's super smooth power delivery when the transmission is deciding it wants to give you power.
Yeah, there are times when you're leaning on the power and it's not intuitive. It's like you're expecting more go than you're getting, and then all of a sudden it kind of surges.
You know what? That car could use a sport driving mode. I know it's got sport mode for the transmission. I was very
surprised there was no sport mode.
But it could use a sport mode because I think that would fix what we're complaining about.
Yes.
Because it's just, you've got to really lean into that throttle to get anything out of it. And it's kind of frustrating if you're like trying to merge or something and you have the car floored and it's like in fourth gear at 3,000 RPM and it doesn't kick down to third.
Sure.
It just stays in fourth gear. I don't know. It was a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, there's 5 off-road modes and no sport mode. Yeah, it's the R dynamic. So you think there should be a sport mode?
There are 7 drive modes in that car, 5 of which are for off-road. One is comfort, one's eco.
So there's an eco but no sport. Yeah,
right. You've got sport mode for your transmission. Like you can kick it down into S, but it doesn't help your throttle response. It just makes it hold gears longer. Yeah. So if you want to drive around at 5,000 RPM, then you can use S mode.
Sure.
But I wish there was a sport mode that would sharpen up your throttle and
That the second and third row configuration was pretty neat with that car. Did you get much time to play around with it?
Fabulous. Yeah. One of the best third row and second row configurations as far as folding them up and down. Because a lot of the times I find it difficult folding up power third rows where the second row isn't power and the third row folds up and it hits the second row.
Yep.
But with the Land Rover, it tilts the second row forward just enough so the third row can come up.
Yep.
And then it tilts it back to where it was. I was very pleasantly surprised with that, and I audibly was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" Like it's a really, really smart system that everyone should use.
Right.
Because obviously it's more electronics and things to put in the car, but it just makes so much sense.
I think that feature was the one thing that convinced me with the Land Rover that it's okay for this car to cost $75,000.
Yes.
Other than that, I was like, not worth it. But when I did experience the dual power folding rows and how well they worked, the nice buttons both in the rear of the car and in the rear doors, I was like, okay, this at least I could see a suburban London mother or something like that actually paying for this car and using it, because other than the off-roadiness of the car and maybe the appearance, I find the X5 to be a much more compelling vehicle.
Yeah.
Better, even better inline six.
Yeah.
And
you can get it in a plug-in.
Well, you could get in a plug-in, you can get M, you can get V8, you can do all sorts of things. The interior is more intuitive, nicer.
Yeah.
A lot of just better things with the BMW, probably more reliable. But the Land Rover at least provided enough differences that I could see why someone would buy that. It's not like a why in the world would you get this over a Mercedes or an anything.
Totally.
I could see it.
Yeah, I wouldn't if someone was like, I'm buying a Discovery, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, don't buy that car.
Right.
It is a little expensive. I'll agree with you on that. When I was driving it around for the first day, actually, I was under the impression that it was about $10,000 cheaper than it was, because I misread the window sticker. And I was like, oh wow, this is actually
quite good for 60,000.
I was like, dang, like 63 grand, like this is solid. And then I actually read the window sticker and I was like, oh, I didn't read the right side. It's actually 73,000. Yes. And then I was a little more like, okay, like I guess. I like the twin moonroofs. So the back seat in the third row gets their own moonroof.
Did you end up disabling the feature where it automatically opens and closes for you, or did you leave that on?
No, I didn't mind that.
I just found it a little abrasive when you get in the car in the morning. It's nice, quiet, you press it, and all of a sudden you're...
But I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, fair enough.
What else did I like? One thing that I didn't really like, being that it's a Land Rover, it's got that kind of stadium seating type thing. You cannot drive with the headrests up because you can't see out the mirror. That car could benefit from a camera.
I was very surprised there was no camera rear
view. It could benefit from that because you can't see out the back if you've got headrests up, which translates to, if you've got passengers, you can't see out the back of the car.
Yes.
And other SUVs, you don't really have that issue. I mean, a little bit, but this car literally, the headrests were so tall that they were going over top of the rear view mirror. So you gotta fold those down if you want to be able to see out the back.
It's not the best. It's not the most practical. I also had a situation where I was doing the off-road section, the mild off-road section, and a rock got stuck in my wheel between the bottom of the wheel and the brake. I've never had that before in any vehicle ever, but it was on the live drive, and I actually had to get out and get a stick and like push the rock out. I thought it was just maybe something stuck in like the brake caliper, because sometimes you get between like the rotor and the heat shield or something, you get brakes.
I had that in the Jeep. I did that in the Jeep, yeah.
Sure, and a lot of times they'll work themselves out, back up or something. Yep. But I drove for a little bit with this and it never stopped. It was legitimately somehow stuck on the bottom of the wheel, like scraping against the inside of the wheel. So I hope it didn't like scratch it or do any damage, but it was like right where your wheel weights would go.
That's strange.
I've never had that. So for an off-road vehicle, it's kind of strange that would happen.
Maybe in England and India, they don't have rocks.
That's probably it. You're right.
Because it's just grass.
Just grass and rain is the only, and salt in India. No, it's the only three things.
Yeah.
And snakes. 4. And
spiders.
Because of the EcoSport.
EcoSport, yeah.
Almost made it out without talking bad about Ford. Speaking of that, I should point out that you're not wearing a hat today. Florida's changed you.
Huh?
Florida's changed you.
I know, yeah.
I'm
just kind of dressed like a boomer today a little bit. I got this at the thrift store. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Ford racing hoodie.
Yeah, I walked next door to the Motorcraft distributor, and they would love that.
Yeah, I know. I should walk over there, and they'd think I'm an employee or something.
There you go. So would you give the Discovery good car status?
I would.
Would you?
Yeah, it's important to me also. It's becoming more and more important driving cars that are unique. And the Discovery is just kind of at that point where it's kind of weird. It almost has like the Volvo effect.
That's true.
Of being a little bit of a weird car.
Even though the BMW X5 is excellent, it is boring.
It's a little boring. Whereas the Discovery, it's kind of boring, but it's not.
It's got character.
Super, it has character. Like super tall roof line. Feel like you're going to tip over going around corners.
Asymmetrical rear end.
I made a TikTok about that.
Did you?
I did.
Good. Yeah, they made it more subtle. I went to the local press event for that car, and they were like, we toned down the rear end. We know it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't think it looks that bad. I think it looks fine.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it. Actually, I put up a poll on my Instagram. I forgot what it was.
Take a look at it.
It was love it versus hate it type thing with the asymmetrical rear end.
Okay.
I didn't even pay attention. I'm really bad. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm really sorry. I'm really bad at I'll put polls up, I'll put questions up,
and then
never go back to them.
Huh.
And I get so many responses of people that tap in the text box and type stuff or
weigh
vote
in
or
and
whatever.
everything. Yeah. Let us know what people think.
Let's see. So, do you have a guess? Do you think people loved it or hated it?
Your Instagram, I would say 60% of people loved it.
You're actually backwards. So it was well over 100 votes total. Hate it at 57% with 75 votes.
Okay.
Love it at 43% with 56 votes. This was the picture I posted just to, love it, hate
that does
it.
make it look kind of cockeyed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually surprised that many people said they loved it because I didn't think that many people did. But I mean, it's almost half and half.
I'm just with you on that topic that I would rather have a car be unique and not necessarily be as attractive than to be conventionally attractive and just be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It explains a lot of the cars that I own.
Hopefully,
and you too with the Maverick.
Yeah,
it's definitely unique.
And the Town and Country.
And the Town and Country. That's
Very
right.
unique. You never see any of those.
So also
the Walter P. Chrysler Signature Series.
Yeah. Thank you. I saw one in Florida. I sent you a photo. Mm-hmm. It was downtown Sarasota pulling a trailer.
Oh damn! I wish I had a hitch on mine.
Yeah,
gosh darn! I would have transmission cooler and everything.
Yeah.
Tow package. Anyway.
Wait, really? Was that an option?
Yeah, it's a factory option for
that
the towing package.
Excellent. You can probably tow quite a bit with that.
It's 4 or 5. Yeah, it's like 3,000 or 4,000.
That's good for a.
It's as much as like a new Sienna.
Yeah, or the Maverick.
Yeah, Maverick.
4,000.
Side note, I will happily pull over 4,000 with the Maverick.
Yeah,
I
you're
guarantee
pretty confident
you can
now.
do it. Yeah.
After towing a couple times.
Yeah.
So actually, something else I wanted to talk about with the Discovery. It had a hidden compartment behind the climate control. Did it work properly? No. But was it a cool idea? Yes. So this is how it worked. I don't know if you can see that.
You tap a button.
You tap a button,
control.
and the climate control panel comes down, and you have a little.
But it doesn't always come down.
It doesn't always come. You have to help it sometimes.
Pry it open.
So I put up on my Instagram a little text box. I said, "What would you put in here?" And I got like 1 million responses on here, and
Are any of them not drugs?
Yes.
Okay.
So some of them I don't know if I should say on the pod. Can I say
you
whatever
can say
I want on the podcast?
The fuck you'd like.
Whatever the fuck I like.
Except for a very small selection of words.
Yeah,
like
right.
Miata is a bad car.
I got you. Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah. GAT.
Oh, we're referring to a small portable semi-automatic weapon.
Capri Sun. Thank you, Emily, for that one because I agree with that. I would put Capri Suns in there actually. It's like the perfect size for Capri Suns.
Could you fit 2 Capri Suns? Probably one.
Yeah, you could fit 2 in there for sure.
Okay.
Drugs, obviously.
Okay.
Chips. My mother said
by
my
chips,
Mother's Day gift. Sorry.
By chips, do they mean British chips or American chips? Because it is a Land Rover after all.
I leave that up to your imagination. Drugs again. Someone said trap money.
Trap money.
I've got a water gun emoji. Water gun to cool off the homies in summer. So a couple of different water guns.
Interesting.
Can I say this one?
Yes.
Someone said my dildo. I don't know that.
Like yours specifically, or the commenters?
The commenters. Yeah.
Okay.
This is actually my buddy that I went to school with. His name is Charlie.
Oh, well. Revealing.
Thanks, Charlie. Illegal substances. Rolodex for my local JLR service center.
There you go. It's probably the best one.
Yeah. Someone said car keys. Something illegal, of course. Sour Patch Kids. A Glock. Will Long requested I don't read this on the podcast, so
he very explicitly said that.
We'll say that he did answer, but I'm not going to read what he said.
I want you to now.
Someone said crack.
Wait, let me see what Will Long posted.
It's right there.
Oh, he only said maybe.
Oh, you can read it if you want.
Why do you need condoms if you have... Okay.
We'll leave the rest of that up to the imagination.
Yeah, check out the Topher's Instagram.
Narcotics. Thanks, Matt. Every number for a tow truck to help you when it breaks down.
There you go. Yeah.
Nothing important because that took forever to open.
Yes, that is another good point. You wouldn't want to be in a situation in which you needed your GAT or Glock or Capri Sun.
That's right, because
you'd be spamming the open.
Cheez-Its. Nothing. Takes too damn long to open. Another one.
Yes.
Capri Sun, again, thank you. A bag of baking soda or oregano. A cookie.
That's cocaine and marijuana.
Yeah. Something that must be forgotten. That sounds philosophical.
Yeah.
Pizza, just to disturb my passengers.
Yeah, that
would
not fit
rot
pizza
in there.
Yeah.
Money. an EpiPen, because in time of need, it would be a highlight of how slow that damn thing opens. And then the last one, which is a Top Gear reference, a pistol and a Bible.
There you go.
A lot of good responses on there. I'm going to respond to some of those.
Good.
I have 16 minutes, though, till that goes away. So that'll be fine. I can get it once it goes away.
Okay, good. Because, I think we have a few
We
more
still got
cars
the
to talk
Copart
about.
segment and more cars to talk about,
Yeah, this week we have the Nissan Kicks and the Genesis GV70 with the 3.5 liter.
Yeah. Don't forget Nissan Kicks SR.
You're right. It's the SR
It's the
Kicks,
nice
the
one.
SR.
It's got Bose speakers in the headrest.
Yes. I
And
do
a
want to
black
say
roof.
with the Genesis, I got a little bit peeved at Genesis recently because they put the 3.3 liter in the G70, but the 3.5 liter in the GV70.
Yeah, they do that for the SUVs.
It created confusion when we were requesting this vehicle because I think I said the 3.3, and they responded with like 3.5 or
here's
something.
the
or vice versa.
G70. No, because they scheduled us a G70.
That's what it was. Yeah, because I think I requested a GV70 3.3 liter.
Yeah, which doesn't
Which
exist.
was my fault, I'll admit, but I just got confused between the 3.3 and the 3.5.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the engines don't make that different power.
The
do they?
GV80 is the same way, I believe.
Yeah, it's the 3.5.
3.5. Yeah. So they just did the same
right
for the GV70.
But this should be cool. It's in Matterhorn white, which is a $1,500 option, pink color.
Yep.
Red interior. Should be pretty fully loaded,
Yeah.
so looking forward to that.
I'm excited because I emerged from the last GV70 thinking that would 100% be a vehicle that I would own. And that doesn't happen often. So I'm really excited to drive the 3.5, though I don't know that I will like it more than the 2.5.
Yeah,
Because the 2.5 was a really good engine and good for that platform.
I very much expect my take to be, this is great, but I wouldn't bother getting both paying more and then also having the fuel economy penalty just for a car, just for an SUV that goes faster.
Yeah.
Because as much as I like Hyundai, Genesis, Kia, their motors aren't remarkably like butter smooth or refined or powerful.
Right.
The 3.5, or at least the 3.3 and the G70 doesn't have a ton of character. So I'd just get the 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what Emily and I agreed on also. That, like, why... I mean, we don't know for sure yet.
Yeah,
maybe
we'll
this will be
find out for sure,
this will be a spectacular engine.
You have to have it
and we'll
sort
have
of
to have it.
situation.
But I'm predicting that it's going to be, we'll kind of settle on just get the 4-cylinder. It's good enough.
Yep. And then the Nissan Kicks will be interesting in that we haven't had one in a few years.
Yeah,
and
I'm excited.
we don't get too many cheap cars around here these days. Let me double check the
sometimes
price
it's
of it.
fun to have. It was like 25. I looked at the sticker.
That's really quite good.
Yeah.
Let's get a
I hated the Kicks when it came out, but that was back when I was like, kind of just, hate anything that's not a sports car type thing.
Were you one who hated the Juke as well?
I still hate the Juke. I think it's hideous.
Okay.
Although
That explains why you hated the Kicks.
although the Topher tells me it's really good to drive.
Yeah.
The Juke.
yeah.
So I mean, I would give it a chance.
think it was just ugly. Yeah, $26,000 for. You guys can't see this because it brings it up in a new tab, but $26,000 with the two-tone paint and the Bose audio system.
I was confused when this car came out because at the time Nissan also made the Rogue Sport. The Rogue Sport. Do they still make that? There's no way they still make that car.
Nissan Rogue.
The Rogue Sport. It was like a small.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
It was
about.
the same. It was the size of the Kicks. It was a little bit bigger, like slightly.
2022 Nissan Rogue Sport. Yeah.
Oh my God, they still make that thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think the Kicks is smaller.
it is. Yeah, the Rogue Sport slots between the Rogue and the Kicks.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Chevy making the Trax and the Trailblazer
Trax.
and the Equinox.
Mm-hmm. So you cannot get all-wheel drive in the Kicks.
Okay.
And
The Kicks, I know they call it an SUV, but it really just looks like a hatchback.
well, right. It's essentially a replacement for.
They just call it an
not having a
SUV, so
Versa hatch anymore.
they call it an SUV, so
Center
people will
hatch.
buy it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is cheap, and it's it'll be interesting to kind of see if we don't hate it. I don't think we will.
I don't think we'll hate it.
But
because,
with the CVT and the cheap materials inside, I think we'll kind of just be like, meh.
well, the CHR, I thought I was going to despise it, and I actually did not. So
Okay. Well, then maybe
we'll
the
be
Kicks stand a
good.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you have a few
yes.
Copart
I've got
options
some-
for us, don't you?
This is my special favorite segment of the podcast. My
We'll do
friends always make fun of me. My buddy Sean makes fun of me because he says that I only buy salvage title cars off Copart, although I've never bought a salvage title car off Copart.
Yes.
So
yeah, because you can't.
Because I can't. You have to have a dealer's license. You can only buy clean title cars.
Let me take a quick peek at my watch list.
Oh, yeah.
real
We'll
fast.
start with you.
Unfortunately, my snowmobile sold.
No. Oh, your C-Max is still
The
there.
C-Max is still here. They keep lowering the buy it now ever
is
so
it now?
slightly. It's $4,900.
What? I thought it was already like $4,000.
Maybe, I don't know.
Did
But
they raise it back up?
I'm not sure, but it goes. The sale date's tonight. It must be one of those like last minute things.
Nightcap.
Yeah, nightcap, and it's at $2,400.
Why are you still watching that Chevy Bolt that is demolished in the ass?
Because it's a beautiful, beautiful blue color, and I think you could fix that.
No, you couldn't. You
don't
couldn't
think
fix
so?
that. No.
Why not?
Okay, this is the support bar, okay?
Uh-huh.
That should be very, very close to the trunk floor. Look how far away the trunk floor is from that.
Oh.
I mean, it would need a floor.
I would
you'd have
drive it.
Okay.
It
just
runs
as
and
is.
drives. Yeah, drive it as is. Put some.
These are not prone to not catching on fire. How do you think that's fared in its?
I think the fact that it hasn't caught on fire yet is a good sign. We could take the powertrain out and put it into one of the shit cars that we have sitting
That
here.
would be cool.
Put it in the Mercury wagon or something.
That would be cool because you could also make money on selling body parts from this.
Yeah.
And then you could take the drivetrain out and put it in. What would be the best car to put that in?
The Mercury wagon that we have.
That's too heavy. That
Too
thing
heavy.
Is so heavy.
This thing makes like 300 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah,
this
but-
powertrain probably makes more power than the whatever original engine that Mercury
but
had.
still, I mean, you'd want to put this in something that would be like you put it in a Miata or something. That'd be awesome.
That would be cool. But then
Do
you
we
have
own
like
anything that you could put? Do we have it? We have
we
to
have
have something.
we have a Miata. We have a
No, we
Miata
don't.
in shop.
Oh, we do have a Miata. It's right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that powertrain and that Miata would be sweet. Or the we used to have a Triumph TR7 in here for a second. That would have been cool.
It's a pure sale and it's only at $4,000.
That's. I mean, for the. I mean, what's it worth if it's not crashed with the retail? 24,000.
Yeah. If it's an LT, 20 to 24,000.
So what's the powertrain in it worth? Like 10 grand or something?
Probably, at least with the batteries as well. Yeah. Yeah, so that'd be kind of cool. And then the other one, oh, my Leaf has a sale date.
It does?
Yeah, the 8th. Is that what it said? Yeah, Friday, April 8th. Ooh, baby. So this is a 2013
Oh, Charlie will be bidding on this.
Nissan Leaf S.
Does it come with the snow on it?
I hope so. It was hit mildly in the rear. It's really not that much damage. Certainly less than that Bolt.
Yeah, it's hitting the front too, isn't it? Didn't it get like sandwiched a little bit?
I don't think so. It just says primary damage rear end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it actually doesn't say it runs and drives, but
It's because they don't know how to.
they don't know how
do
to
it.
put an EV in drive. It's a pretty base model. It's pretty old as well. I bet you only goes like 50 or 60 miles on a charge. But
That would be so fun. We could just use it to get the mail.
yeah, exactly. It's got 100,000 miles on it. Current bid $200. You know what? I'll put in a bid right now.
Okay.
Do you think I have a better chance of getting it if I don't put in a bid now and like wait till the sale date, or do you think it doesn't matter?
I don't really think it matters,
All right.
honestly, because it's just going to go for whatever it goes
We're
for.
gonna do a $500 max bid, and one more increment. I've already been outbid. Ah, shucks! It's up to $550.
There you go. Nice going. You cost someone else money.
Well, I'm going up to $750 now. They probably bid up to $1,000. Hey!
Oh, what are you winning it at?
I'm-
Oh, $750. All right.
Okay.
So their max bid was probably $725
Yep. All right. Well, I am
or $700 with one increment.
currently winning a very shitty Nissan Leaf. This will be Alyssa's daily driver if I win it.
Oh, I'm sure she'll love that.
She really
Don't
would.
even wash it or fix the rear end damage. Just show up with it.
Oh, she'll like it.
She'll appreciate that a lot.
I'll be very happy. Okay. What else do I have on my watch list?
I see you're watching that IS300 that I showed you.
Yeah, still doesn't have a date. That's
That would be really cool to have. I
That'd be
think that
really
one has
cool
a
one,
salvage
isn't it?
title. But is it? Can we bid on that or no?
I think so.
See if we're eligible.
Check now. Eligible to
Yeah.
bid.
Does it have a salvage
Georgia
title?
certificate title rebuilt salvage.
Oh, rebuilt. Okay,
Yep.
rebuilt. So
Yeah.
that's why we can bid.
I
on
think
it.
someone probably tried to fix it and then got bored.
Where is it damaged? I
Just
forgot.
minor dents and scratches.
Does it run?
Runs and drives.
Yeah, that's a rare car. They didn't make very many of those.
Perhaps it may have been rebuilt title before it went to Copart.
Probably. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it was likely already rebuilt, and then now it's being run through the auction.
Yeah. And then I'm just keeping an eye on this fancy motorcycle that is a run and drive with very mild damage.
That looks like a Florida man.
This is the extent of the damage. Just it's a big Victory motorcycle.
Can you just take that off?
Yeah, and it's just a side case that has been damaged.
So they dropped the bike and it cracked and then totaled it?
Exactly. Yeah. Parts are probably very hard to get.
That's broken too.
Because Victory doesn't exist anymore. Oh, you're right. It does have damage on...
Is that the engine?
Yeah, it's missing an engine cover on...
Does it run?
On one side as well.
Oh,
yeah,
it does run. Runs and drives.
Yep. Kind of hard to see where...
It's a pure sale.
Actually, maybe it's... No, actually, Chris, I think it's supposed to be like this. Because think about motorcycles. They often have the exposed engine.
Yeah, but go to that other picture. Yeah, that looks broken.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah. Hard to tell. Either way, it looks perfectly rideable.
What year is it? 2012.
2012. And it's...
What is Victory? Is it Honda?
Victory...
Or is it its own thing?
I don't know.
I could not see you riding that. Would you just buy it to flip it or what?
I could sell it. I could rent it out.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, you could put it.
You got to admit, just cruising on the highway with this, it'd be awesome. It'd be very quiet, just like I can't remember.
Quiet. No, you're supposed to blast your music at full volume when you ride bikes like that.
Victory motorcycles, I think they were their own brand.
Do they not exist anymore?
No.
They don't?
No.
Oh, how
Winding
sad.
down operations in January 2017. They were owned by Polaris. That's what it was.
Oh.
And Indian is Polaris as well. So once Polaris bought Victory, they kind of just shut it down and went full on with Indian, which to me is kind of silly because I feel like Indian is kind of a problematic name for a motorcycle company in today's day and age. So I feel like they should have kept Victory.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, we'll see. That's probably another reason it got totaled is because it doesn't exist anymore. Parts are probably very hard to get.
eBay's got everything.
I know, but insurance company might have not seen it that way because can you just fix it as an insurance company by buying used parts off eBay?
Probably not. Well, usually it goes through the body shop. So, I mean, however the body shop wants to obtain parts.
Okay. Maybe they just said, like, I don't know if I want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Who knows? But we'll keep an eye on that as well. So what do you have for us?
That's why I had my phone out and then I put it away. I'll give you a lot number here.
Yep.
368-723-92.
This is a 2022 Ford Maverick XL.
I believe it's actually an XLT.
I was going to say, they're not XL wheels.
Yeah, no, it's an XLT 2-liter all-wheel drive. Wow. They just labeled it wrong.
And it's the neat color as well. It's
hot pepper red or whatever it's called.
Cayenne red, something like that, yeah. Only 2 days left and only at $8,300.
And we are eligible to bid.
And pure sale. Wow. So it was hit quite hard in the front.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, it could be a parts availability issue, but it looks like it's hit pretty hard.
A nice tonneau cover on it. It looks like Truxedo, which is the same brand we got. So quick shout out to Truxedo.
Shout out Truxedo.
Yeah, that's a nice rolly one.
Someone at Copart will probably steal that.
Yeah, seriously, they should. Nice wheels as well. I've always liked those gray wheels. Only 1,700 miles on it. And the real sad thing about this is you can't get your hands on a new Maverick.
No.
So
you could get your hands on this one.
Right, but for the person who did own this and then got probably ass blasted by some texting driver, it's probably even more devastated because they had waited for their Maverick to come in. They were loving it, and then it got fucked.
I was going to say they probably waited months for this truck, and now they're probably in a rental car paid for by their insurance company as they wait for their next Maverick to be built.
Yeah.
Unless they just went and bought a Santa Cruz or something.
Oh, yeah, looking at the side, like up by the
look at the windshield.
And stuff.
The windshield is smashed.
Yeesh, yeah,
I wonder if they hit like a motorcycle, because look, it looks like maybe the person like went up and hit the windshield.
It could be a lot of things, to be honest. I don't think a motorcycle could do this much damage. I mean, the tire is tore off the rim, and I think the whole truck would have had to been like shifted.
Yeah. That thing's bad. That probably hurt. Although the airbags didn't go off. I don't think.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Well, sad. I could see this being bought by someone who would part it out. Very, very valuable as parts, because anyone else who wrecks a Maverick now.
These are, I could see that at least for the next few months or the next year, that being very, very valuable for parts.
Yeah.
That would also be cool though to buy and make like a mini truck, like a bagged mini truck, because I mean that one's already been ruined. So
yeah, that's true.
What else you got for you? So the next one is 4000112.
This is a 1994 Toyota 4Runner VN39.
Manual.
Ooh.
Manual. I don't know why this one's being run through. Someone, I guess, if I had to guess, I would say it was probably traded in at a dealership and they're just running it through.
Yeah, 340,000 miles on it.
A lot of miles on it. Not as much as my E46, but it actually looks pretty clean. It runs and drives, allegedly. It's got a light bar on the front.
As it should.
As it should, but it other than that, I mean, it looks pretty clean and original. So that would be really cool.
I think this would be worth actually a few $1,000s cleaned up and sold Facebook Marketplace style.
Totally, yeah. Retail value Copart puts on at $3,600. That's probably pretty accurate. Maybe like $4,000.
Yeah, maybe at this high miles, but the thing is, it's going to continue to appreciate.
That's true.
The way
and
people
it's
spend money on
manual.
4Runners. Manuals.
I would just be worried about rust because you can't see any. But these old Toyotas, they hide rust very well on the frame.
Yeah.
So,
which in Michigan, fuck it.
Yeah.
Send it. But.
Right.
Yeah, that's tempting to bid on. Maybe if
cool.
Maybe if it doesn't sell because it's on approval. Maybe if I don't win my Leaf, then maybe we can bid on this 4Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
And then I've got one more.
Okay.
400-722-02. So this is a 91 Mercedes 560 SEL. That caught on fire, and I'm thinking about maybe placing a bid on this car to use as a parts car for mine, because this car has already caught on fire, so I don't know that it would really be worth fixing. It looks like a pretty minor fire.
Yeah, you can see on the windshield where there was definitely flame.
It caught on fire behind the dash. I don't know what caused that, but...
what parts do you need off this for your Mercedes?
The doors.
Oh.
All 4 doors.
Why is that, Chris?
I've been trying to find doors. Well, because mine was shot.
Yes.
I've been trying to find 4 doors for my car, and it's proving to be very difficult. And that's unfortunate because prior to me owning my car, these things I feel like were everywhere at U-Pulls, and now they're not. So
now this 560 SL would be a higher model than yours, right?
This is the 5.6 liter V8. It's the biggest engine you could get in the W126.
Would it be worth swapping the motor? Probably not, right?
Maybe. I mean, I probably wouldn't, just because that sounds like a hassle.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing's already up to $750, which means after fees, like over $1,000. Like, I don't really know that it may be to the point now where I won't bid on it, but I just thought it was kind of cool to show, just because 560 SELs are cool.
Yeah,
it's the highest trim
one.
Yeah.
Yep. Is yours currently needs a fuel pump, right?
Yeah,
that would be a cool car to cruise around in the summer.
That is what my goal is.
Yeah.
I've always
wanted... leave the bullet holes in the doors.
Yeah, but I want windows. Like I want windows, and I don't want to take those doors apart to put new glass in. That seems like, and who knows what damage has been done to the inside of the doors.
Sure.
To like, do the window motors work?
Why don't you just knock out the windows and only drive it in the dry?
I could do that, but then what if I'm out and it starts raining?
It'd be like you owned a KTM Crossbow or something.
That's true. Yeah. Well, that I wouldn't be as opposed to that if one of the quarter windows wasn't shot out.
Oh,
that's kind of a not good thing, because
sure,
I don't really want to advertise that the car's been shot. I mean, sure, the little bullet holes in the doors you can't really see unless you're really up close.
You don't want to scare the children as you pull up.
Not really.
To the beach.
No, and I've always wanted a W126, and this one is a little bit worse than I was hoping.
Sure.
In some ways, a little better. In other ways, it needs a lot. And as we just said earlier, we don't really have a lot of time for things. So I mean,
what would you rather be doing? Swapping parts off a Mercedes or driving your Cayman?
Driving my Cayman.
Yeah.
Ideally, for that car, I would love to put 4 new doors on it, put a new windshield in it, put a new fuel pump on it, lower it, put bigger wheels on it, and wrap it like candy apple red.
Yeesh.
That would be like, that's what I want to do. And like that's like my ideal cruiser car.
I see.
Like just
kind of like our buddy Keone with his 3 Series wagon. He just wants a good cruiser.
Good cruiser.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, neat. Thank you all so much for listening. We will be in next week to talk about if the Kicks has anything remarkable for us.
If the Kicks.
And if the GV70 is best with the 2.5 or the 3.5.
Yeah.
And we'll have a few new cars to talk about next week. Maybe a few new Copart entries as well.
Yes.
And we'll see you on the next one. We're Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor. And as always, drive on.